Today we're looking at quarter note and half note rests, as well as dotted half note rests. And this comes from my Volume 2 method book. And at the end of my Volume 2 method book, there's 60 rhythmic exercises to help you improve your rhythm. And so today we're covering number 7 to number 12. But you can follow the lesson for free and pick up a lot of the tips on how to approach rhythms in this way. So make sure you've already watched my videos on the earlier exercises so you understand the time signatures that we're using today, as well as how to play just regular quarter notes and half notes, which we've already covered. And all the lessons, if you follow that link, all the lessons are there. So when we introduce rests, in this particular case, we are going to stop the sound. So when we have a note playing, during the rest, we will stop the sound by putting our finger back on the string, whether that be our thumb or our finger. So during the duration of the rest, we will stop the sound. I think what we should do is just play the number 7, and I'll show you the example for those who don't have the book, so that you can just understand what we're doing. The first way we're going to do is we're going to count out loud while playing. So I think I'll just do that first and then we'll have more of a discussion. So I'll give 1 bar for nothing. So one measure where I count a full measure, and then we'll begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that might seem very easy, but there's a lot of little subtle things to pay attention to. One thing is to make sure that our note durations last for their full value. 1, 2. You know, right on 2 we stop the sound, but we make sure that that quarter note rings until the second beat. 1, 2. And we make sure that the rest takes up a full beat as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And during those half notes, we make sure the half note rings not just 1, 2, cut, but no, it's 1, 2, 3. It's notes must last all the way to the end of a beat. You can think of beats as having an actual space. And you can't stop the sound in the middle of the space. You must make it to the end. So it must 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't put our finger down early and go 1, 2. You know, I put my finger back on the string, stop the sound prematurely. If it says half note, it has to ring for its full value. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And when there's a half note rest on the beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, cut. So anytime there's a rest, we make sure it's actually silent for that duration. Make sure as well, sometimes students are a little bit lazy with the very end of an exercise, but that whole note at the very end, 1, 2, 3, 4, cut. It actually has to be cut on the imaginary first beat of a new measure, right? Lots of students sometimes will go 1, 2, 3, 4, as if 4 was the end. But 4 has a length to it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, cut. Or if you want to say 1 of a new measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So just make sure you're actually getting the proper duration of the note or the proper silence that the note requires. When you're counting these exercises, I think one thing you should do is count out loud, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You should also give yourself 1 bar for nothing and don't count out loud. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You can tap your foot while you're doing that and feel the beat still, but make sure you're practicing in both ways. Sometimes when you're dealing with rests, it might help you to actually say rest instead of the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, rest, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, rest, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make sure you keep your beats organized in your head. In the end, practice this in every way that you can. You can try clapping it, you can sing it. Singing it is really great for learning the durations, but in my book, all the exercises are just on open strings, so you can practice it on guitar. That's pretty much it. There's not much else to discuss. You just want to make sure you're putting your finger or your thumb back on the string. And for many of you, this might be your first exercises in muting strings. So I'm going to cover the rest of the exercises now for those who have the book, but for those who don't, this is an opportunity to rethink some of your pieces and to think about what the rests might mean in pieces. Or if you're doing rhythmic exercises, to be very, very precise. Sometimes in our repertoire, rests are there just for organizational purposes, not always to be strictly observed. Other times they are strictly observed, so that depends on the piece of music that you're playing and the aesthetic that you're choosing. So number 8, this will have a whole note rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should also practice these without counting out loud, but I think it's really important for you to also count out loud at least once through it, especially with these exercises with rests. Number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In number 10, we have a dotted half note rest. In this particular time signature, 3/4, it will take up the entire measure because a dotted half note in this time signature counts for 3 beats. So 1 bar for nothing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Number 11. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Number 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3,